What is up, guys? It's Doodoo Poker here, back for another video. Today we are going to be talking about a concept that is very important for constructing ranges. We are going to be talking about unnatural double barrels, specifically in the cutoff first button 3-bet formation. This concept applies in all pot types, but we are going to focus on this formation for this hand history. So, let's get into the action. Cutoff RFIs, we have our trusty King 10 of spades. We decide to 3-bet. Everyone else folds and the cutoff calls. The flop comes Queen of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 4 of hearts. We know that this is a high frequency C-bet. Now a solver is using bet 33 and bet 50. We do not want to do this. We want to use one sizing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into GTO Wizard Elite and choose the 1/3 sizing. So here, let's go to GTO Wizard Elite and we're going to change this to 1/3. Okay, so we do 1/3. We run the node, it's updated. Now we see it's bet around 76% of the time. So we have our King 10 of spades and we decide to 1/3 bet. Now the cutoff calls. The turn is the interesting point. The turn comes a 4 of diamonds. We have no equity with our King 10 of spades. But what do you notice about a hand like King 10 of spades? King 10 of spades is always barreling. A hand like Ace 5 of spades is also always barreling. We have to think about why are these no equity hands barreling the turn. What you have to think about is you have to switch your mentality. Most people focus on if they have a value hand or not. You do not want to focus on that. Your value hands will be very clear and apparent because value is very easy to identify. What you want to focus on is your opponent's calling range. If I'm using the 1/3 C-bet, 2/3 double barrel, jam, river bet sizings as well. If I barrel King 10 of spades, what hands always call? A hand like King Queen off always calls a turn barrel. A hand like tens with a diamond always calls a turn barrel. What does King 10 of spades do? King 10 of spades uses the king to block King Queen off. It uses the 10 to block 10 of spades, 10 of diamonds. So I'm using both cards to double block the calling range. This is a very important concept. You see the same thing with Ace 5 of spades. Let's say I barrel Ace 5 of spades. I have no equity to the pot. But why does Ace 5 of spades double barrel? Ace Queen off always calls. So if I have Ace 5 of spades, I block Ace Queen off. Let's go to Ace 4, always calls. If I have Ace 5 of spades, I block Ace 4. What about a hand like 5-4? Well, if I have Ace 5 of spades, there's only one combo of 5-4. What about pocket fives? Same thing. So I'm using two cards to block 4 possible hands. So I'm double blocking hands with each card. This is why you double barrel a hand like Ace 5 and you double barrel a hand like King 10 suited. But let's check out the river. So let's say I have my King 10 suited and I bet. Now the river comes a diamond. Now again, I have no equity to the pot. This is where now I'm using my King 10 of spades to jam all in. Why? Because now I block a hand that can call me. If I have King 10 of spades, he can't have 10 of spades 10x. But if I change this to, let's say, a blank, now what happens? Now I don't bluff with my King 10 of spades. I don't bluff with my Ace 5 of spades. Why? Because I want to block flushes. You want to block the calls. So in this scenario, we use a hand like Ace of diamonds, King X, right? Ace of diamonds, Jack X, because you want to block the top of the calling range. So what the solver is doing is the solver is omniscient. It knows all possible runouts. It has contingency plans for every single runout. It knows that if I barrel my King 10 and my ace-5 no equity hands that I get to bluff on the diamond. It also knows if I barrel the turn with my king-10 and my ace-5, if it comes non-diamond, I give up because now I want to block flushes. So it's very important to understand this concept because you need to focus on the calling range. You need to focus on what blocks the calls. This is the main mindset shift. You don't care about the value. The value will play itself. It's very easy to identify value. It's very difficult to identify a hand that has no equity but that always barrels. This ensures us that we have bluffs on every run out because the solver knows what hands want to bluff on what runouts. So what we can do is try to understand what it's thinking. We know we barrel the king-10 of spades, the ace-5 of spades, because it blocks the calls. You want to block the calls. If we block the calls, we increase the folding frequencies. And what do we want when we're bluffing? Well, we want to fold. So to get a fold, we have to block the calls. All right, guys? I thought this was a good primer to introduce the unnatural double barrels, specifically in the cutoff versus button 3-bet formation. This gives you an idea of what you need to be thinking about for the future and how you can mimic a solver, but also use the concepts from the solver to understand why it's doing what it's doing. If you like this type of content, please give me a subscribe, please give me a like, and I will be putting out a new video every single day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.